Hey guys, today we're going to be working on the worksheet gradient and scale practice. We're going to be looking at these topographic maps and calculating and measuring the scale and gradient of different locations, between different locations on the map. So the question on map 1 says, question number 1, what is the distance between A and B? Include units. So first let's read what our map's about. It says, base your answers to the following questions on the topographic map below. The map shows an eroded drumlin at Chimney Bluff State Park along the shoreline of Lake Ontario east of Rochester, New York. Lines A, B, and C, D are reference lines. Elevations are shown in feet. So I know my elevations are shown in feet, and I know these are contour lines, and contour lines show lines of equal elevation. Therefore, I know that these numbers here are elevation, represent the elevation. This would be 400 feet, 350 feet, 300 feet, and elevation just means how high above sea level that location is. But however, my question number 1 is asking me not for the elevation, but the distance between A and B. And to find the distance, I actually have to use the scale given to me in the bottom of the map, and the distance between locations are in miles, and the elevation is in feet, how high something is from the ground. So to find the distance, you are going to need scrap paper. I normally use index cards. You can use those as well. And what you're going to do first is copy down the distance between A and B onto your paper, and then you take your paper to the scale to measure out how the distance between the lines that you just marked. For instance, I'm gonna take my index cards to the bottom of A and B, the line AB. I'm gonna mark and label where A is and where B is. Now I have a distance. I marked down the distance between A and B, and to figure out what that distance represents in miles, I'm gonna take it to my scale. I'm gonna start just like a ruler. I'm gonna start from 0 and see how many miles A and B represents. And so A and B is up to here. If this is 0.5 and this is 0, and if I need to figure out what each of these lines or increments represent, I can just use my scale equation from our previous topics. You would do 0.5 higher elevation, higher number, minus 0 lower number, divided by the number of jumps between them, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will give you 0.1. So that means this is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and finally 0.5. That just tells me, the scale tells me how much each increment is going up by. So now I know the distance between A and B on my map represents 0.1 miles in real life. Remember, and be careful not to use, if it's asking you for distance, do not use the numbers that are given to you on the map, because those numbers actually represent elevation, how high the points up are up from the ground, and the elevation is in feet. So I'm going to write for A and B, that's 0.1 miles.